Hi there, and welcome back to the Creators MBA Show. I'm Dr. Destiny Kopp, and today I'm bringing you something a little different, and I am very excited to share this. A few weeks ago, I joined an incredible roundtable discussion with Ruth Poundwhite, Monica Froese, Kate Kordsmeier, and Jodi Bourne. And all of us are digital product entrepreneurs who've been very deep in the AI trenches. And we had one of those conversations that was just too good to keep to ourselves. We were talking about the shift that's been happening in our businesses this year, and specifically moving from ChatGPT to Claude. And let me tell you, this isn't just about switching AI tools. This is about workflows that have completely transformed how we work and skills that are saving us hours every single day and results that honestly feel too good to be true. And here's the thing. We're in a mastermind group together called the Weird Hermits, and we've been sharing all of these discoveries with each other in real time. And the excitement has been absolutely contagious. We're literally going back and forth in our Telegram thread, texting each other at all hours saying, "Did you see what Claude just did for me?" And in this conversation, you're going to hear the real stuff, like how I accidentally discovered Claude could build 2 complete sales pages in HTML so I could compare different angles for a client audit. Or how Kate stacks multiple skills in one conversation to turn an email into a blog post, into a school community post without missing a beat. Or how Monica created a skill that spits out a 30-page branded workbooks in just 2 minutes. Or how Jodi literally cried when Cowork wouldn't install on her Mac because she was reading about all the amazing things everybody else was doing. We're not holding anything back here. The differences we see between ChatGPT and Claude, why we made the switch, the learning curve, and the specific features that made us all wait, what just happened here? If you have been curious about Claude but haven't made the jump, or if you feel like using it but you feel like you're barely scratching the surface, this conversation is going to show you exactly what's possible when you really lean into these tools. All right, let's jump right in.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being part of this chat on the podcast. Very excited to have this conversation publicly because we've been talking about so much good stuff behind the scenes. Before we dive in, I just want everyone who is here to introduce yourself quickly, just so that everyone knows who they're listening to. So if you can just share a couple of sentences, who you are, what you do, and who you help. So let's start with Monica.
First, thanks for having us, Ruth. I'm excited for the conversation. My name is Monica Froese, and I run 2 different brands. One's a B2B brand called Empowered Business, where I help content creators create high converting digital products, of course, with the help of AI, hence why we're here. And then Redefining Mom is a B2C brand, and I'm integrating a lot of AI type products to help moms leverage AI in their daily lives.
Thank you very much. And next, I'm just going to pick you in the order you are on my screen. So next is Jodi.
I'm Jodi Bourne, and I help vacation rental either owners or property managers get more bookings and market their properties proactively so they're not depending on the OTA listing sites. And that's what I do, and I love it.
Great, thanks. And next is Kate.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Kordsmeier. I help coaches, course creators, online business owners grow without social media and really I feel like my phrase lately has been high profit, low maintenance businesses. So I implement a lot of AI into that as well so that you don't have to have a big team or be on all the time.
Love that. And finally, Destiny.
Super excited to be here. My name is Destiny Kopp, and I have 2 brands that I own and manage. One is Hobby School, which is my B2C brand where we do online learning virtual summits every single month in different types of hobbies. And then I have my B2B brand, which is the Creators MBA, where I help digital product entrepreneurs grow their business with consistent revenue using Creator Growth Flywheel and AI.
Love it. You will have such amazing experience. And I am, just in case you don't know, I am Ruth Poundwhite, and I support people to sell and market in their business without always being on. I work with a lot of lower capacity and neurodivergent business owners to set up those structures behind the scenes. We talk about on the Soulful Sales podcast all the time. All right, so let's get started by talking about, we have all been on a journey with Claude recently. I know Claude has been around for a while, but for me, it's definitely been a recent shift, a desire to get away from ChatGPT, but also really exciting new stuff coming out with Claude all the time. Like literally between the time of recording this and publishing this, they will probably have come out with new features. It's just wild at the moment. I want to start for anyone who has been using ChatGPT, and I know that won't be everyone listening, so don't worry, we're not going to talk that much about ChatGPT, but for anyone who has been using ChatGPT, wants to move to Claude for various reasons, a lot of highly publicized reasons in the recent past, let's talk a bit about the differences we see in ChatGPT and Claude. Does anyone want to jump in just to give the basics?
I'm happy to share a couple of the things that stand out to me about some of the differences. And I think obviously there's a lot of functionality that Claude has that ChatGPT doesn't, which is obviously huge. And I know we're going to talk about skills and cowork and all of that kind of stuff. But I also just want to say that some of the things that I am loving so much more about Claude, like I've always known Claude as a better writer. It sounds more human. It's less formulaic and robotic than ChatGPT. So I had been using it for any writing tasks for a long time, but I pretty much had everything else on ChatGPT. And I knew that ChatGPT was like sycophantic and it's the way it talks to you. And all AI kind of is. It obviously is designed to be reassuring. But I didn't realize how much fluff was in every response that ChatGPT gave me. And just so much blowing smoke. And that's the best question anybody could have ever asked about. And then they would have like paragraph before they would just get to answering the question or doing the thing that I wanted. And so I'm actually loving one of those differences with Claude is just, oh my gosh, it just gets to the point and it's still nice and it still fluffs me up a little bit, but it's not so sycophantic.
Yeah. And one of the most recent updates in ChatGPT, I noticed it was giving me kind of clickbaity style suggestions. I still notice it because I'm still using ChatGPT as I move stuff across. And I'm really noticing it so strongly. Like at the end of every response it gives you, it's, oh, would you like a secret second suggestion that will totally blow this first one out the water? I'm like, why did you not give that to me in the first place? It's just clickbait. It's giving the worst of social media kind of vibes, keep you engaged with the platform, but it's too much. And I'm really glad that Claude is not like that.
Claude also asks questions up front. And I like that a lot because one of my frustrations with ChatGPT, so I am the person that got into AI via ChatGPT. I decided I wanted to master one platform because the shiny object, and I knew I just really had to get good at something. And if I had to open 10 different things, it just wasn't going to work. I will say I like Claude a lot more pretty much for everything right now. One of the things that Claude does exceptionally well, and I would struggle with this with chat in general, I would come to it with a marketing problem. I'd say, let's just say I needed a cash flow injection. And chat had all the history of my business. It understood all my product lines, all the things I was doing. And every time its suggestions were outrageous. If it was that easy to make 30 grand, chat, I wouldn't be asking you about this. Like, it would suggest like these ridiculous programs I could just spin up and like people are going to pay me 10 grand for and problem solved. And it was like, rah. And I would get so annoyed by it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I could have thought about this myself. When I am working on a marketing campaign with Claude, it asks me so many questions up front that the response is actually legitimate and something I can execute on. And it gives me way better ideas. So that's what like a big differentiator that I've noticed.
Yes, it has such a nifty little multiple choice question thing. It gives you such a lovely feeling every time it asks you those questions. And it is, the answers it gives as a result are so much better. Yeah. Anyone else want to add to this or like specific? Because I think also there's what you said, Monica, about I want to go all in on one platform. Like I felt like that too. And I felt like I didn't need to move for a long time. And what got you over that hump? And what did you learn when you did it?
I'll jump in here because I definitely, when I first started using AI, I had a paid account on Claude and I had a paid account on ChatGPT. And so I was using both for a long time. And then I think one of the reasons why I really honed in on ChatGPT were the ability to make the custom GPTs and train them and sell them. And there's a lot of people. I think 180 million people right now on the OpenAI ChatGPT platform. So there's a big market there. So I really just went all in on that. And just in the past few month or two, when everything came up with Claude, and then I realized, oh, it's made a lot of improvement since the last time I was really using it. Went back to it and my world has been blown. Really, there's been so many game changers in delving into it. It has blown everything out of the water that I was doing previously on ChatGPT. I can't literally believe all the improvements just in the past month.
It is amazing. And we are going to share some of that stuff. So if you want to like stick around, we will talk about that. I will just add the custom GPTs and being able to share them publicly is definitely a great thing about ChatGPT. And there's no direct equivalent in Claude at the moment. I would love, like they are shipping new features like all the time. So I'm really hoping that they come up with something that matches it. They do have, so this is one of the things when you move over, you need to get used to the terminology. So in ChatGPT, you have custom GPTs that you've trained on your knowledge and instructions, and you can share that with other people so they can use your like specifically trained chat, the version of ChatGPT. And it's really helpful for me because I can train them with a password. So I can share them with my members and I can change the password every month. And that, it doesn't always work. It's not foolproof, but it does work pretty well. With Claude, you have projects that you can train, have instructions and knowledge. So it's really good if you're working on your own stuff. It works like a custom GPT. You also have skills, which are amazing. And we'll talk more about skills. And you can share skills with your clients. So you could sell them like custom GPTs. But the limitation is, as Destiny said, loads of people are using ChatGPT. So maybe they'll find it easier just to chat on a custom GPT versus having to install a skill. Or like me, I have a membership and I want that password like ingrained and I don't just want to give people the file that they then have forever. So there's some things that don't translate, but a lot of stuff does translate. And then, like Destiny said, totally blows ChatGPT out of the water. I will say, I guess for all of us, we would all agree, Destiny, you've been using both at the same time for a while. I have only been using Claude for this, like we're recording this at the end of March, probably only this month, really, apart from like the odd chat here and there. And it felt like a big thing, but I'm so glad that I took the leap. Would you all agree? Yeah, you're all nodding your heads.
Definitely.
100%.
I think, go ahead, Jodi.
I was just going to say, I've been using Claude almost exclusively for about a year now because I have a business where I have multiple clients, and then I also have my own business, and then I have my husband's business. And I just could not get ChatGPT to stop putting stuff about everybody else's business into my content. I could not, even with the memory, everything, I would have to clean out the memory every day. And so then when I learned about Claude projects is when I jumped on board because of the kind of brain that's just there. Like you said, you can give it your instructions, you can give it your information, and you can upload documents to it that stay consistent. So that's why I switched a year ago, and I can't. Like the last month that a bunch of other people have started jumping on, I've just been, because now they're just building so fast. Yesterday we had 3 Cowork updates. Did y'all notice that? 3 Cowork updates in one day.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's a lot. And anyone listening to this, like we might be saying, think you like skills, what? Projects, what? It's a lot to keep track of. And it's a lot to even get used to using one AI tool, let alone move to another one or use multiple. It's a lot. It is a lot. And I guess I want to say to anyone listening, like, we are playing with this stuff a lot and working in it a lot, and we still can't keep track of it. No one can keep track of all this. And it's actually quite helpful to remind everyone of that. No one can keep track of it all. And I would also say, so Jodi, Destiny, you've already been using Claude for a while. Kate, Monica, more recently. The ones of us who I've seen moving over more recently, the way that we have gotten to know things is just by playing with it, asking it, how can you help me do these things that I do regularly? Or how can I train you on this thing that maybe I've trained ChatGPT on in the past or whatever? And that is how we're getting to know it. So I just want to, if anyone's listening to this and thinking, I kind of want to move or I want to try it, just take it one step at a time. And that's the way to go. Next, what I would love us all to share is things we are doing in Claude, because this is going to be the real thing that is going to probably inspire you to jump in, because the things we're all doing, like we are having calls with each other because we're in a mastermind group together, the Weird Hermits, and we're sharing so excitedly the new things that we've discovered we can do. And it's so much fun and blowing our minds what it can do. Does anyone want to jump in with something really cool they're doing with Claude?
Ruth, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story here because I did literally stumble upon this by accident. I was doing an audit for one of my members in the Creators MBA Lab, and she has the membership, and I was trying to help her figure out 2 different angles we could take with it on the sales page. And I was working with Claude. I'm like, can you give me 2 different angles here? And here's what we're trying to do. And here are the issues that we're running into. And it literally built out 2 different long form sales pages for me. So I could see them side by side and do the comparison. And that's when I just was like, okay, this is a game changer. And it put it in HTML. And so that kind of took me also on a different kind of journey there. But when I showed her and just showed her those 2 artifacts where it had built out her 2 sales pages and the different ways we could approach it, she was blown. I was blown. And then I realized, okay, Claude is putting this in HTML. And then a few days later, that's when the Lead Pages company came out with the HTML pub, and where you could just take that code and publish those landing pages immediately. And then I realized, okay, I have this HTML. What else can it do? And that's when I was like, okay, I can build a skill blog post where it can just publish the HTML, and I can put it on my Squarespace sites. And then it can publish the HTML, and I can take content and actually put it into my emails where I would have used an image in the past and make it easier to read. And just that HTML and Claude publishing that HTML for us, that code there has made my life so much easier. And all of this has happened in the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's amazing. So for anyone listening who's, well, I don't get it. It was so funny because when you first were experimenting with this and you created these HTML pages, I was like, explain this to me like I'm 5. What are you getting Claude to do? You're literally just creating the page, giving me the HTML code, and I am just plugging that in to
meaning the designed page,
right.
Not
yes, the designed page.
GPT was doing was giving us a Word doc kind of format, and we'd copy paste it and still have to design everything.
Yes.
Now the HTML, that's what I feel like made me see. You have to see it, because once you see it build this thing in less than 5 minutes, and it's a better sales page than you could ever create. And it was something that we were all paying designers thousands of dollars over the years to do, or doing it ourselves for spending hours. The design of that, the page is completely built from copy to design, graphics, your fonts, your branding, everything. That's when I think all of us were like, what is this witchcraft? What's that saying?
Is this witchcraft? That's the perfect phrase.
I think when it really clicked, the differences between what a custom GPT could do versus a skill was I create a lot of custom GPTs that I sell in my shop. And the way I deliver them is with this instruction PDF. And it's formatted the same way for every GPT I sell. And so I was working with Claude on one of the GPTs I wanted to create. And I said, I took one of the other PDFs, I put it into Claude, and I said, oh, I need instructions laid out for this GPT just like that. Now, in ChatGPT, what would happen is it would read the PDF and it would give me all that I needed, but then I had to copy and paste it and format it over. Like I could have gotten it, export it into a doc, but it would not have looked like my brand. So as I'm doing this, Claude reads the PDF and goes, oh, would you like me to create the PDF for you with your branding? And I said, yes. And it did. And then it said to me, would you now like this to be a skill? So every time you need to create this specific document, it will do it exactly like this. And I thought, okay, let's take this a step further. I'm constantly creating workbooks for my programs and my workshops, and they would take a long time for me to format. Sometimes I'd have to pay for people to format. So now I have a skill for each side of my business that has all the different logos built in. So it knows like which program I'm building it for. It has all the different footers I would want, like copyright. And I have many different websites, so like different privacy policies. It's all built into the skill. So I can say, hey, I'm creating a branded doc for this program, and this is the footer I need to use. And here's all the content. And it just takes it. And in a minute, I have, like yesterday, I did I'm launching a workshop today. It's a 30-page branded doc that it spit out in 2 minutes. I just was like, this could not have happened with ChatGPT.
And even if, like, when ChatGPT was putting things together like that, it was not ever quite there. There was always something else you had to do or add or tell it, retrain it on something. And with Claude, it's almost 100%. And then maybe it takes another 3 or 4 minutes to just say, hey, could you do this? Or maybe as you're writing and looking at it yourself, a lot of things that I'm doing is like I'm a website designer, and I'll go take a screenshot of somebody else's site, like a section that I like, and say, hey, can you design this part of my page like this? And it just looks at the screenshot and it's, sure, Jodi, let me do that for you real quick. And then boom, there it is. And how long would that take?
Yeah.
Even in lead pages, something that's really easy to use, it would just take hours to rebuild an entire section. So we just keep saying blown away.
Yeah, truly. And like design, websites, all of that has never been my strong suit, like never been the thing. Like I've always patched it together or used things like lead pages, although I canceled that because they put the prices right up. But even using those page builders, still very time consuming. And you know what? You were all like doing these pages and sharing in our group just when I had already created all the pages for my summit. And I was like, man, this would have been perfect for a summit. Just give it a template and let it go and create 50 different pages for the speakers. Absolutely amazing. And the key is in the skills, right? So skills is basically, it saves to its memory a set of instructions, like it's trained on. So in Monica's example, you've been having a chat with it. It then creates a skill from all the stuff it learned in your chat and the little tweaks you gave it. Oh no, that's not the right color for my brand. This is, and creating a skill for like your design. So I've just been doing this in my Claude. I asked it to guide me through creating a visual skill and what it would need from it. And it gave me suggestions and it asked me to upload certain things. I even couldn't be bothered to find all the colors from my website and stuff. So I just uploaded I went to like view page source and just copied and pasted all the HTML from my website. And it just got all the colors and everything from that. And the difference is huge. So once this is what we've always been saying about AI in general. You've got to train it, but this is another level. And the results are amazing when you can train it. Although I love what you shared, Jodi, as well about taking screenshots of other websites. That's a really good tip.
Yeah. I think too, and I don't think we talked about this yet, but what I love about skills is that you can stack them inside the same conversation. So with ChatGPT, they said they released that feature last year at some point, and you would like @ symbol and it never worked for me. It was always super buggy. And yeah, I had a lot of issues with that. But I think the concept was smart, and Claude figured out how to do it by using these skills. So you can go in and I can say, all right, I need to write an email about blah, blah, blah. So I give it the prompt. It writes the email using the email copywriter skill. And then I say, turn it into a post. I can put in my school community. And I don't want to just like copy paste the exact email. So then it's going to pull in the school post writer skill. And then I can say, now I want to turn this into a blog post, and it's going to pull in the GEO writer skill, all in the same chat. So you're not having to copy paste. Okay, here's what I had from the email conversation. Now let me move this to a new conversation to do this if you were using custom GPTs in the past. So I also feel like everything's just happening so much faster and more seamlessly.
And it also writes the skill for you. It updates it.
Yes.
So if you're working in ChatGPT, if you're working on a custom chat, custom GPT, you have to go back in, you have to open it up, you have to edit it, you have to find the spot where it needs to go. And then with this Claude, it's just, oh, could we update that skill to now ask for this or to now do this? And it's okay, skill updated. And that's it.
I'm sorry, Monica, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and you don't even have to tell it to pull the skill. It knows to pull the skill. That's the other thing. So, okay.
And it will ask you if you want to use a skill. Like maybe you didn't think about, oh yeah, I have that skill. And it'll say, do you want to use this skill? Or it'll just start using it, like you said. And you're like, oh yeah, I should have thought of that myself.
Right. I know you don't have to think of all your different custom GPTs that you've built. And I was going to say, one of my favorite ways to build a skill, I have kind of two easy ways to build a skill. One is do something for the first time, like we've just been talking about in the chat. For example, I write income reports every month, and I have to all right, first I got to pull in all of my stats from the month. Then I need to pull in some themes that came up. Then it's like multiple steps, right? Then I need to create the Canva graphic. Then I need to do this thing. And so I do it once in one chat. And then I say, turn this conversation into a repeatable skill. So now next time I go to write the income report, it just basically says, okay, Kate, I need this and this from you. And then it knows exactly how to format everything. It pulled in the necessary skills for different aspects of that. One of the skills I have is a P&L skill. And so it literally goes into my QuickBooks. It pulls my P&L from the month. It knows how I calculate my profit and all of that. And then it just allows you, sorry, my daughter just came in. I got distracted. Anyway, so it's like it pulls that skill when it needs it for that section. Then it pulls the blog writer skill when it needs it for that section. Then it pulls the Canva skill when it needs, and it's doing all of this for you. And so it's updating the Canva graphic. It's doing everything. And I just had to have one conversation, and now it knows exactly the process moving forward. So that's kind of my first use case. And then my second one is I love saying, like, we all have a lot of our own IP where we could train Claude or ChatGPT on our own transcripts and project files and everything. But there's some things where I'm like, I'm not a meta ads copywriting expert. And so I will go and I'll do like deep research, turn that tool on in Claude and say, do deep research for me on Andromeda and best practices for ads, creative, copy, graphics, whatever in 2026. And it will spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like doing its deep research. Then it gives me a report about best practices. And I'm like, great, turn this into a skill. So now I just have this ad copywriter skill that is trained on all the best practices, but I didn't have to know what they were. It did the research for me and then told me. So I feel like those are two really easy ways to create skills that you can use forever.
Yes, I love that. And one thing I will say also about skills is it really works with my brain. Like I get overwhelmed trying to remember all the things. So like in that ChatGPT feature where you can in other custom GPTs, I just get overwhelmed having it all in my head and trying to remember the complex network of different things I can use all together. It just really works for my brain that Claude will just suggest skills or run them. Or I'm like, I need to create a workbook. And it's, let me pull in your visual design skill. Let me pull in your voice skill. Let me pull in whatever. And just, yes, I don't have to think of it. Like it seems really simple, but it just, something about it just works so much better for my brain, which easily gets overwhelmed. So let's also talk. So what we've been talking about is like designing things or a process for creating blog posts. That stuff is happening in the chat, right? Most of the stuff that we've been talking about happening in the chat. Claude also has a wild feature called Cowork, which I think has blown everyone's minds who has used it. It is a different tab when you're using Claude in the desktop. So you can chat, or you can go to Cowork, and Cowork's more like, you can still chat with it, but it's more like doing things for you in your browser, or now like apparently you can use your apps on your computer as well, which is a very recent update. So one of the first things I did when I tested it was just, and this was before I realized that you can actually so some things you can directly connect and it will do it behind the scenes. So it won't need to do it in your browser or in an app. Didn't realize it had a Canva connection, so I got it to do it in the browser. So I got it to just go on my Canva account. I had just logged in on a tab in Chrome. And I was like, I need to update a bunch of images. There was a specific thing that I needed to update throughout, like probably 30 different images. And it just did it. And I was just watching it. I could have literally worked on something else while it was doing it, but it was just so fascinating to watch it doing it in my browser. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So that was like one of the first things I tried with it. What is everyone using Cowork for?
Everything.
Tell us more, Jodi.
Do what?
I said, tell us more. I want to know.
Just everything. When I first downloaded it a while back, first of all, I downloaded it and I don't know if it was my Mac or whatever, but it didn't work for a few days. I think I actually literally cried when it wouldn't work for me. And I was reading all these things that people were doing. So it's organized all of my files, not just on my desktop, but it has access to my Google Drive. It's found tons and tons of duplicate images and content and updates. It's organized them. It's renamed things so that it's easier for me to find. It's tagged things. One of the best things I think about Cowork is the connectors. They have so many connectors. You can add your own connectors if you're a little bit more technical. But when it will connect your Gmail to your Notion, to your this, and to your Google Drive, and it's all there. So the skills that you're using now include these connectors. Maybe like a skill. I do some SEO. So this blew my mind yesterday. I was doing some SEO work for a client. I had it go in the browser, like you said, Ruth, in the browser, go to the client's website. It found the sitemap. It went to every page in the sitemap, gave me a spreadsheet of H1 tags, H2 tags, alt tags, keywords used on the page, then told me what I needed to do to improve it. It did keyword research for me for that brand, came back and said, you're not using these keywords at all in the website, and these might be better. And then it tells you, but you might need to do some of your own keyword research because it depends on what they're wanting on this page and this page. But then it spit out this beautiful branded document that I could give to my client and say, here's the SEO research I did. Next step is, do you want me to do it for you? And then I know when I do it, I have already created the skills for how to update blogs and web pages with the new SEO content. And it's just instant and it's great.
Yeah, that's hours and hours of work, right?
That's probably a 10-hour project. She had a 60-page website.
I think the biggest thing that clicked for me with Claude that I never could quite get to with ChatGPT was how to work agentically. So essentially, the AI is doing the work for you, and it's not just you're guiding it along and you're in the active chat. And that's what Cowork finally clicked for me. So now I try to challenge myself now when I have to accomplish something. What is the end thing I have to do? And do I really have to be the one to do it? So this is something that I absolutely would have done manually before that Cowork just did for me. So I'm doing an event in my school community. So I am having live speakers and I have placeholders on my calendar so I could put placeholders on their calendar of when they're speaking. But it's just a placeholder. It doesn't have the link yet because I have to create that still in school. It doesn't have the description. All of that resides in Airtable. I don't want to be the one to create the events in the school community. Now, probably Claude, the browser extension could probably do that, but I'm going to have my admin do that part. However, she has no look into my calendar to see when people are scheduled and all the information that matches, like the workshop title is in Airtable. So I needed a doc to give her that mirrored those two together. So I just explained that to Cowork. I'm like, this is in my calendar and this is in Airtable. and I need a document that I can hand to Natalie to be able to create the events in school. And it just created the doc for me. It went to Airtable, I didn't even have to tell it what base. It figured it out, pulled it, looked at my calendar, like Destiny's talking in that. It found, okay, Destiny's talking at noon. Based on Airtable, here's her topic, and then put it in this nice document for me to hand over. And it even listened to the point that I was like, I need to have the school link to update the calendar. And it said, once Natalie updates this document, let me know, and I can go plug it in to the calendar to update Destiny's invite. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I did, and I just let it do its thing. And then the document was ready, and I gave it over to Natalie. I would have absolutely had Airtable in my calendar, mirroring it, creating the doc myself before. So it's literally having it do it for you. That's the biggest difference.
Yes, thank you for that explanation. It's helpful. Even one thing that I just got, because of the school calendar, right? It doesn't sync from a Google Calendar. So you do have to add those events, although hopefully we can get Cowork to do it. But in the human adding or copying over of events, there's always human error, and it's usually my error. So now I've got a recurring scheduled task. So this is something else that Cowork can do. You can schedule it, but you have to have your computer on and Claude open. So there's that. So I now schedule it twice a month just to go through my school calendar and my Google Calendar and make sure there's no discrepancies and that it's all correct. And it's just a really simple task, but the human error is the problem. So having the AI look at it, it's like such a helpful solution for me, especially someone like me. When I mentioned my brain earlier, overwhelm, it's really helpful just to have that check. It's just a simple thing, but it's okay. What is it that I'm butting up against and that keeps coming up as an issue? Okay, let's see if Cowork can help with that.
I did just realize this morning, and I feel like this was the second morning in a row. So I'm like, maybe this is one of the new releases. Like I have a morning briefing that I get every morning that Cowork does for me. And like you said, in the past, and maybe this is just some weird glitch, I don't know. But in the past, you've had to have your computer on and awake so that it can do this stuff. And this morning, I did not have my computer opened until 10 in the morning. And I opened it up and all of the scheduled tasks were done. And I was like, wait, how did this happen? And they were done perfectly. There were no mistakes. So now I'm like, maybe they figured out how to do this without having to have your computer on. Because that was a big limitation, I feel like, so far, even though, okay, now in the past, I would come down, I'd open my laptop and then I'd make my coffee and do my morning routine. By the time I was done, it would be ready. But now it's just ready. So we'll see if it sticks.
That'd be very exciting.
That's great. I didn't know. I haven't seen that happen yet. Have y'all tried with your iPhone to the dispatch? Have y'all tried that yet?
No, because I haven't had my computer turned. Because so dispatch is you basically prompt it from the Claude app to deploy a task through Cowork. But like we were saying, so if this has changed and your computer doesn't need to be on, you could be out at the grocery store being like, oh, I really need that Airtable updated for my meeting. And I don't have time. You would just tell through your phone and it will command your computer to do it, which is wild. I've not tried it yet. But if we don't have to have our computers on, I do think that's a game changer. Yeah. Because I work a lot off my laptop and I'm not letting my laptop sit on 24/7 because it will burn it out.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been saying they're doing the Mac Mini thing so that they always have something on. And maybe this is just my limited knowledge, but we've been talking a lot about this in our mastermind. I have a desktop Mac and I have a MacBook Pro laptop. I work mostly from my laptop these days, but if I switch to my desktop, even if I save everything to the cloud, you can't have the same scheduled task. You would have to recreate all of your scheduled tasks on both devices. And then that wouldn't really actually make sense because then both devices would be running them at the same time and you'd have duplicates and it would waste all your tokens and all of that. That's been another limitation where it's really all of my Cowork stuff is on my laptop. So when I'm on my desktop, I don't have anything scheduled, anything new that I want it to do in the moment or just clean up my desktop or reorganize Canva for me or whatever. Yeah, I can do that on any device, but anything that's more of that repeatable scheduled task, I haven't been able to figure out how to, I don't think it's possible.
It is possible.
So
because I was doing the same thing, like I don't want it to do it on both all the time or all the time on everything. So you can you choose the folder that it works in.
Yeah.
So when you can you can create 2 folders in your Google Drive or wherever. One is for your desktop, one is for your laptop. And so the skills that you're using on your desktop computer, you can use a different folder. And then any skills that you want on your desktop, you just duplicate them and put them in. So you just duplicate the specific file and put it in the new main folder. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, you're going to have to show us this on the Thursday call, because in theory, I understand what you're saying, but every time I do it in practice, it's like Cowork says, I don't have that knowledge, or like I always run into an issue.
If I'm a betting person,
just to say, I have not tried it yet, but it was telling me, I was asking it how to do it, and it showed me. And so I started organizing some folders, but I haven't actually put it on my desktop yet.
I honestly think it's such a pain point that they're going to fix it
out.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to worry to try to figure it out. I'm just going to keep my scheduled tasks on my laptop until it will all sync.
Yeah. And that's where I've gotten to also.
I didn't even install Claude Cowork on my iMac for that reason, because I'm like, honestly, if I'm going to do something in Cowork, I'm just going to keep it on the same device right now. And I only use like the web version on my iMac when I'm in my office.
So I just want to point, sorry.
No, go ahead, Ruth.
I was going to go on a slight tangent and just say, this is how we figure stuff out, like in real time. We don't know how everything works and everything is changing all the time. Having a group of people that you can actually get together and talk about this stuff with is very helpful. Like one of you will be like Destiny, you were creating the pages. Monica, you've been creating all these pages. Jodi, you've been doing all the SEO. Kate's got all the morning briefing, and then we all come together and we share like little examples, and then we build our knowledge this way. It's so helpful to just get together with people who are wanting to learn as well and just do it together and share what comes up.
There's the Claude group on Facebook that has been, it's a little bit lower and brand new users. I'm sorry, Destiny, I know you were trying to say something, but just to let people know, there's a really pretty good Claude group, and it looks like it's sponsored by Claude. So that it's good for newbies.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Destiny, do you want to share something?
Jodi, first of all, you have to give us that link because I definitely want to check it out. One thing that I just want to mention really quickly, Ruth, is a kind of another game changer that's happened to me in the past few weeks is earlier, I think it was last week, I can't remember what it was, but the days are swishing together. I had to create 3 presentations for events that I was speaking in, and I only had a very limited time to do them, and I'm like, how am I going to get this done? So I went to Claude and I was like, okay, I need to get all 3 of these done. Here's what I'm talking about. I need you to help me get these done very quickly. So we started working on the first presentation. And then I was like, okay, what tool out there can I put this into to have it create the presentation like really fast for me? And it had all of my details, all of my branding and all that good stuff. And it told me to go to the Gamma app. So I used the Gamma app and I basically fed it everything that Claude gave me. And it built this presentation in just like literally a couple.
And it's good. You shared it with us in our chat and we were all like, wait, what is this?
So much better than Nana Banana was. What was it called?
Yeah, I couldn't believe what it did. It did the speaker notes. It did everything. And it sounded like me. And it was like fully branded and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is another game changer. And that app also does AI images. So I had to create some for our Eco Creative Summit that we're doing in April in Hobby School. And it created some really good images. And I've had troubles finding an AI that could do really good images for our events. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody needed help in that area, that's something else that has been a game changer that Claude helped me with recently.
And because Destiny shared that, this past weekend, I had to get 2 big presentations done as well. And so I got Gamma, like she suggested. I was just like Destiny, blown away. But then the thing that really, so I spend a lot of time on my speaking notes. Like I will go off script. I'm pretty good at going off script when I'm presenting live, but my speaker notes are pretty dialed in with my inflection and stuff, but I always had to write that manually. AI to really get my inflection as a human is really difficult. So I got the slide deck done, and then I went to Claude and I said, here's, I would say, a dozen of my trainings over the last year. And I told it, I want you to capture like the phrases I use, the stories I tell, all of that. And I asked it to create a skill. And then I asked it to write my speaking notes. I just presented one of them yesterday live. It was one of my best live presentations ever. And I literally read my notes and it sounded just like me. And I don't even know how we functioned without the board.
Yeah, we were very burnt out and exhausted and tired and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Now I'm just exhausted from playing with Cowork.
Exactly. Now I'm staying up way too late because I'm like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
But I think, Ruth, like you said this at the beginning, and I've been getting so many comments from my own clients too. Where are you learning this? How are you like figuring this out? And I really feel like it is those two things. One is I am in there playing. I am in there, like I have fun playing and figuring out what it can do. I've watched a jillion YouTube videos about stuff. I'm testing different things out, but like, it's not even watching the videos. It's just getting in there and playing around. And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'll learn it first and then I'll try to figure it out. No, you figure it out by just doing it.
As she goes.
And then having a group that you can go, wait, has anybody figured out how to do this? Or, oh my God, did you guys know it could build a sales page for you in 5 minutes and it looks amazing? Here's how to do it. So get yourself a group and then just get yourself a paid account. It will be the best $20 you ever spent in your life, and get in there and just have fun.
And I never once, not even once, considered in all the things that ChatGPT was like so integrated into my life. One time it forgot me. It had a glitch and I bugged out. My daughter was a little concerned about me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. It has my whole life in there. And I never upgraded off the $20 plan. And I think most of us in the group within a week of using Claude went right to the $100 max plan because it is saving me so much time. Like I used to joke that I had a $20 assistant in ChatGPT that saved me a full-time salary. I would argue that the $100 a month though is like saving like 5 full-time salaries. It is incredible that things like, honestly, what I used to pay, almost everything I used to pay for, Claude now does. And I guess that's a whole different conversation about it taking away jobs. But actually, I would like to say this. It just goes to show of up-leveling your skills, how important that is going to be in this booming era of AI.
I agree. Unfortunately, because of time, I'm going to have to wrap us up there. One thing that we did not get to talk about, I'm wondering if it might be worth doing a follow-up sometime, is how this is changing our offers. And I think just to summarize that before we wrap up, we are definitely all considering how AI can enhance our offers and help people use what we do. I, for one, am still using custom GPTs. I am not getting rid of those. I have downgraded my ChatGPT plan though. You still have to have a paid plan to host the custom GPTs, but I've downgraded it. So I'm spending less money on ChatGPT.
Like the $8 a month
Yes.
plan? Okay, I need to do that.
But definitely skills are things that we can probably consider adding to some of our offers if it fits. I'm not planning to do that for my membership, but I would definitely do it for one-off offers. But yeah, something for a future conversation maybe. But as you can see, we're all playing with it. Things are changing very fast. There is no keeping up with it. If it can save you some time and energy on something that takes up time and energy, then that is a win. So I hope that you have found this helpful. I'm going to put everyone's links in the show notes and I'll hopefully get those links to those other resources that we mentioned as well. Anyway, thank you so much. And I'm sorry to have such an abrupt end to this, but you've all been amazing. And let's hope this is even still relevant by the time, who knows what will have changed by the time this goes out in 10 days. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you loved the show, I'd appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Have a great rest of your day and bye for now.